You are listening to Christian Audio's production of The Battle Plan for Prayer, From Basic Training to Targeted Strategies, by Stephen and Alex Kendrick. This book is read by David Cochran Heath. This audio recording was produced in 2015 by Christian Audio, which owns the copyright. No portion of this recording may be reproduced for any reason without prior written consent from Christian Audio. This edition issued by contractual arrangement with B&H Publishing Group, originally published in English as The Battle Plan for Prayer, From Basic Training to Targeted Strategies. Copyright 2015 by Kendrick Brothers, LLC. All rights reserved. Please visit christianaudio.com, facebook.com/christianaudio, or twitter.com/christianaudio to offer your impressions of this work and to explore additional titles. The meaning of the crosshairs symbol. The cross in the middle reminds us that successful prayer begins with a relationship with God through Jesus Christ and faith in His shed blood on the cross. John chapter 14, verse 6, Ephesians chapter 3, verse 12, and Colossians chapter 1, verses 15 through 20. The vertical lines in the cross, as well as above and below it, remind us to stay vertically aligned with God and His Word in prayer. John chapter 14, verse 13, chapter 15, verse 7, and 1 John chapter 5, verse 14. The horizontal lines in the cross and on both sides remind us to stay right with others. This includes forgiving, apologizing, and also praying in agreement with others. Matthew chapter 5, verses 23 and 24, chapter 18, verses 19 and 20, and Mark chapter 11, verse 25. The inner circle means to maintain a pure heart in prayer. When you pray, you should keep no unconfessed sin or bitterness in your heart, and you should approach God humbly, repentantly, submissively, and in faith. Psalm 66, verse 18, Mark chapter 11, verse 24, and James chapter 4, verses 7 through 10. The crosshairs remind us to aim our intercession and to pray specifically, strategically, and persistently. Matthew chapter 7, verses 7 and 8, John chapter 15, verse 7, and James chapter 5, verse 16. Introduction. In April 1948, a farmer in a small rural town in South Georgia looked up to see a tornado approaching his property. As he ran for cover, his wife crowded their 3 young daughters under the dining room table and waited in fear. When the devastating twister arrived at their house, the little girls watched their mother cry out to God at the top of her voice for protection. Moments later, the deafening, train-like sound of the winds faded into the distance, and then the family walked outside to see the aftermath of the storm. The destruction was all around them. Their barn a few yards away was heavily damaged. Power lines were down on the ground. The giant oak trees in front of their house were uprooted, now lying on their side, and the church across the street had been rocked off its foundation. But their home and family were left completely untouched. This farmer and his wife were our grandparents, and their 6-year-old daughter, who was greatly impacted by this experience, grew up to become our mother. The 3 of us, her sons, and our 19 children would not be here today if God had not protected their family during that storm. There is power in prayer. We grew up in a praying home, we've attended praying churches, and we've seen God answer countless specific prayers over the years. When we were in high school, for instance, our father and a few trusted friends believed God was leading them to launch a new Christian school in our area. To get started, of course, they needed desks, books, and the right location. But with little money, what they needed more than anything was faith and prayer. During those early days of the school, we watched how God rapidly guided and provided. A local church agreed to house the school and allow their facilities to be remodeled for the purpose. A local business donated free lumber. A volunteer ministry from Tennessee showed up to help with construction. Within weeks, new classrooms and offices were completed. Another school called and offered books, desks, and chairs. The timing was unbelievable. Soon we had students sitting in new classrooms with books in their hands and teachers in front of them. Our father went on to serve as headmaster for 2 decades, watching the Lord continue to provide what was needed year after year. In the fall of 2014, the school celebrated its 25th anniversary, having impacted thousands of students and families for Christ through the years.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?